What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look and a listen to Senator Bernie Sanders. He's going to be talking about this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. It's going to be a really busy week. So we know tomorrow Congress returns, and so we're going to start hearing a lot more about what they want to put in this $3.5 trillion bill. We've already seen the majority. We know what the blueprint is. Right now, it appears that they've omitted certain things like stimulus checks and like enhanced unemployment. So we're going to have to see if that finds its way in this bill this week. But this is it. They pretty much have 7 days before that deadline, 7 days before September 27th, when they have to vote on that first infrastructure bill. And when they vote on the first infrastructure bill in the House, the Senate needs to have something. They need to have something when it comes to the second infrastructure bill, because we have a fight right now when it comes to the Democrats, the progressives, and the moderates. So we're going to take a look and a listen to Senator Bernie Sanders. We'll hear what he has to say on the topic. But first off, on this channel, we talk about news that matters. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right to this clip here. This is on Face the Nation, and it gets a little heated. It's a pretty good discussion. So let's go ahead and play this. Here we go.
Burlington. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning.
Lots to get to with you today, but I do want to ask your reaction to news that the U.S. military killed 7 children, 3 civilian adults in this drone strike. You have in the past been very critical of reliance on drone strikes. Are you comfortable with the Biden administration's over-the-horizon policy?
Well, I certainly hope they understand what happened and make sure that never happens again. This is not only a human tragedy, it reflects on us before the entire world. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, really tragic what's going on in Afghanistan. I mean, we've been watching this for the last, month and a half now when it comes to the withdrawal from Afghanistan and everything. I mean, hopefully they can figure something out. The government can figure something out and try to fix this whole situation. This is one of the things I don't like to get too much off topic when it comes to, I want to focus on the $3.5 trillion bill, but yeah, this is a tragedy. There's another tragedy that they're going to talk about next with Haiti and immigrants from Haiti. And I mean, you have to look at what's going on. So we have this situation that happened in Afghanistan. We have the situation that's going on with immigrants from Haiti. Then we have the $3.5 trillion bill. So we have a lot of stuff that's going on right now. And Congress is going to have to come back and try to figure out exactly how they're going to move forward with all these different things that are going on.
On immigration, I also want to get your reaction to what the Biden administration just said they're doing this weekend, which is to step up deportations, particularly of some of these Haitian migrants who have gathered in southern Texas, thousands of them. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has called it inhumane. Do you agree with her? And looking at what you're working on right now on Capitol Hill, do you expect immigration will be tucked into this $3.5 trillion spending plan?
I hope it will, in the sense that right now we have many, many millions of undocumented people in this country, people who are working hard. In fact, people who have maintained this economy, people doing the essential work, something like 11 million people. And I would hope very much, and I think the American people agree, that now is the time, and if we can do it through reconciliation, I'm there, I want to do it, to move toward a path toward citizenship and comprehensive immigration reform through the reconciliation bill.
But
that's my hope.
Whether or not that can be done is still going to be decided. I know you say you want it done, but isn't this exactly the same kind of social policy that moderates are balking at here? Well, because you're tucking it into a mechanism that even you have said in the past should just be used for budget and spending.
Well, the truth is that because we have no Republican support in trying to pass a significant piece of legislation representing working families, we have to do it through the so-called reconciliation process, which means that you have to obey the Byrd rules. I won't go into bore you with all the details. So it's something that we are arguing right now. But I do hope, as we move toward what I believe is the most consequential piece of legislation for the working class of this country, as we demand that the wealthiest people and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes, as we lower the cost of prescription drugs, as we expand Medicare to include dental care for seniors and hearing aids and eyeglasses, as we lower the childhood poverty, as we have already done, maintain that by 50% as a result of the American Rescue Plan. I hope that immigration reform is part of that general package.
But don't all these very worthy causes you're laying out deserve their own debate and consideration? You in the past have said that this is not how
Margaret, right now we have no Republican support. Zero. There's not one Republican who is prepared to stand up to the drug companies and lower the cost of prescription drugs.
And you may not have full Democratic support
either. Not one Republican
either.
who wants to build affordable housing. We can't do it without the reconciliation package. So right now what we are doing, and let's be clear, and I want the American people to understand it, we're taking on the pharmaceutical industry who are spending millions and millions of dollars trying to make sure they could charge us 10 times more than the people of other countries for drugs. We're taking on the healthcare industry, does not want to expand Medicare. We're taking on the fossil fuel industry, who thinks it's okay to continue emitting carbon while destroying the planet. So this is really a monumental struggle.
I understand it's monumental, and it's a struggle within your own party, to be frank, because Senator Manchin just met this week with President Biden. He continues to say the number you're asking for is too big, it's too much. Will you meet with the president this week, and do you plan to give anything here to get closer to the numbers that the moderates in your own party say need to be met?
Well, let me tell you this. We have started off, as you know, with, I would guess, 80% of the Democratic caucus supporting a $6 trillion bill. Remember, this is over 10 years. Per year, it's less than we spend on the military. Now, maybe you can tell me, or somebody else can tell me, how much we should spend to save the planet. Because what the scientists are telling us is that if we don't get a handle on climate change within the next few years, there will be irreparable damage. And you know what? I got 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. And I think we have a moral responsibility to leave them a planet that is healthy and is habitable.
Are you sure that
we are working right now. We got 50 votes. We're going to have to work it out as we did with the American Rescue Plan. But I have already made, and my colleagues have made, a major compromise going from $6 trillion down to $3.5 trillion.
So
and I think that's important to note. And I know everyone's stuck on the $3.5 trillion number. But the reality is it was $6 trillion, and they moved down to $3.5 trillion. So there's already been a compromise, and that's what Senator Bernie Sanders is trying to say. Look, we've come down from $6 trillion to $3.5 trillion, and Senator Manchin was at 1 to $1.5 trillion, and that's it. He hasn't moved from that point. So in reality, and what Senator Bernie Sanders continues to say is, look, we've already negotiated. We've already gotten down to this number. So he doesn't want to move down any further. He thinks that 3.5 trillion is, in his words, not enough. They need even more. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they work through this. But I don't understand the whole push. He needs to talk. Is he going to talk to the president? Is he going to talk to the president? The reality is Congress needs to negotiate. The president shouldn't even really be involved at this point. The only reason that he's involved is because he's the leader of the Democratic Party and he's trying to get everyone in line. But when it comes down to it, Congress, they're the legislators. They need to legislate. So they need to negotiate this out and get this bill approved in the Senate and approved in the House and then sent to the president.
Hearing you correctly when you say you are not willing to move on that $3.5 trillion number, even if the president asks you to do it? I mean, are you risking losing everything?
Look, right now what we are doing is we are engaging with the House and the Senate. It is a complicated proposal. All I am telling you is that $3.5 trillion is much too low. A compromise has already been made. An agreement has been made. And the American people, by the way, poll after poll after poll, are telling us now is the time to stand up to powerful special interests. Now is the time to start representing working families on all of these issues. They are enormously powerful. And maybe, just maybe, we can work for workers for a change and not just wealthy campaign contributors.
You keep saying the number of 50 votes, but it is well reported that Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema are not with you on this within the Democratic Party. Are you certain that President Biden will get them all in line?
Rescue Plan. We dealt with this with the American Rescue Plan. which, as you know, is the most significant piece of legislation to take us out of the economic decline. And it cut childhood poverty by 50%. It provided unemployment benefits. It did what had to be done to get us out of the emergency. We came together, and
Right.
I expect, because of the pressure of the American people, we're going to come together again and do what has to be done.
Will you meet with President Biden this week, just like Senator Manchin did last?
I'm happy to meet with the president anytime. But at the end of the day, I think what
So no.
the overwhelming majority of the American people want us to do is finally stand up for them, not just the drug companies and the healthcare industry and the fossil fuel industry. This is what
Right.
we are trying to do. It's an enormous fight. We're going to win it.
Okay, so there was Bernie Sanders talking about this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, this second infrastructure bill. And the reality is, when we're looking at this, I don't know how they're going to get there by September 27th. There's just too much still out there. We don't know exactly what's in this second infrastructure bill. We don't know what the top line number is at this point. We know 3.5 trillion is what Senator Bernie Sanders wants. We know where Senator Manchin is, more along the level of 1.5 trillion. So this is going to be interesting to see how they maneuver this. And I don't think they have enough time. I don't think this 7 days that we're talking about, starting tomorrow, 7 days until that final vote for the first infrastructure bill, I don't think there's enough time there. And you have the progressives and you have the moderates in the Democratic Party. The progressives want to hold off on that first infrastructure bill until they have the second infrastructure bill. So these progressives are going to determine how this goes, because you have the progressives and you have the moderates. The moderates are saying, look, we don't want to move on the second infrastructure bill until we move on the first one. So this is one big mess. I don't know how they're going to do it. We're going to have to all watch. Make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification, because I'm going to let you know everything that's going on play by play this week, because it's going to be really, really busy week. So if you guys have any questions, post them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.